Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Everyone well?
Yeah, fine.
Yes.
Excellent. I think we've got a bit of feedback, Eric.
Sorry?
Yeah, or is it just a connection issue? It's okay. Just your voice is echoing a little bit.
Okay, let me
No,
try something.
right. I believe it's the three of us today, so I think we can crack on.
Okay.
Let's see now. Right. Just going to start from this angle rather than Tiger. We'll come back to Tiger afterwards. So there's been quite a few developments across the formulas. So I just wanted to give everyone a chance to know what's been happening. Now, I think we already spoke about this in the last meeting where David has put together the pre-commit configuration, and we use this PR here to the SSF formula, and we managed to push it out to all of the formulas. But one thing we did have a problem with was actually there was a couple of problems. What was the first one? The first one was some of the formulas. Was it just all the RST check, David, or was there one other problem we had before that?
Um.
I think most of it was okay, wasn't it? It was just the RST check, wasn't it?
Well, I think we did have to adjust my initial PR. I think. Well,
Oh,
I had to move. This kind of final PR is different to how it was in the template formula.
that's right.
The template formula, I'd kind of configured things in quite a specific way, I suppose, which didn't generalize out to all of the formulas.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, I investigated those differences and I submitted the PR, and then
So I'm just
there
going to go
was the
back.
Rubocop stuff.
Yeah,
And so we had to account for the fact that some formulas don't pass Rubocop.
so for example, there was this section here where it was giving the list of files, but that doesn't always match across all the formulas. So it was dropping back to what YAML lint has within it rather than specifying it over here. That was one of the changes, wasn't it?
Yes, although I do still say that in the course of time, we should move over to this style where pre-commit takes the control of which files.
Definitely. I've noticed that delay that you've mentioned is by pushing it. So by not using this directly in pre-commit, it runs all the checks, or it defers all the checks to the actual linters themselves, and it
Yeah,
seems
exactly.
it delays things
And
quite a bit.
well, yeah, I mean, it's noticeable. I don't think it's much more than a second or so, but it is noticeable.
So the new shape of this, if we were to look at it now, how do I get to it quickly without? So at the moment, we've gone for a more generalized method. Hold on a second. That's the same. That's because I'm looking at the wrong place. Right. So that section there was the YAML lint section, wasn't it? So right.
Yeah, and we did the same with Rubocop, I believe.
Yeah. So what we've done is we're just passing the checks back to the actual linters themselves rather than pre-commit selecting the files. And
Exactly.
anyway, we got all that working, and that was fine. But we did have a period of a time where we were trying to work out how to get the RST check working across all of the formulas, and that's one of the things that happened next. So that was the pre-commit, and the first stage of that was to enable it across as many formulas as possible. But there were, I think, was there about 20 formulas that there were problems?
21, I believe it was.
Yeah, something like 21. So we just had, oh no, we had 21 problems first. So that was in Zulip. If I was to go there, I think we found that over here in Zulip when we was running one of these sets of tests, and all the down thumbs are the ones that were failing at the time. So what we did is we fixed the ones we could quickly, and I think there was about 5 left that had specific problems, but that was enough, and we was able to use the SSF to push out pre-commit, including RST check across all the formulas, just making these exceptions for these 4 or 5 formulas that weren't working at the time. But since then, we've been able to fix those 5 as well, which is good news. So we've got all of pre-commit running across all the formulas now, and as far as we know, it's all running successfully. I haven't seen any failures with pre-commit so far.
No, neither have I.
Right, so that's great news, because we've got now pre-commit and RST check. So if we was to look at a build somewhere, so let's take this example. At the moment, we have 2 sets of linters running, two jobs running here. One with our original linters all running independently of each other, and one with all of them running within pre-commit itself. So if we was to open this up, just so, although we have looked at this before, just to be clear, we can see each one is running. So this is the commit messages, this is the RST checks running, salt lint, YAML lint, shell check, and Rubocop. Where's Rubo? It's up higher up. There we are, and Rubocop as well. So it's all within pre-commit, which is decent, because now we've got at the moment a duplication between the two. But this was phase 1, which was just to get pre-commit out there across our formulas. And once we're comfortable and happy that it's working the way we expect, we can essentially just get rid of job 1 and remove all of this from our formulas. Eric, any questions about how we're going about this?
Yeah, just to understand what I looked at the previous meeting recording, and I understood that the problem was having the same filters on both pre-commit and the classical check.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Just quickly.
So the idea is to only have one, and which will be the pre-commit, using it in Travis, not in pre-commit classical usage.
Yeah, go
Well,
for it.
you can still use it on your own machine, if I understand you correctly.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping you doing that, but at the same time, it is optional. I mean, for whatever reason, people might not want to. But
we can still use it on Travis without committing anything. I mean,
we can use the original linters, you mean, or
no, the pre-commit one. I mean, the idea behind the pre-commit is it only checks what is committed on Git, but we want to check all files available.
All right, I've got a question there. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, David, go on. I was gonna. Yeah.
Well,
so when this runs across all the formulas, all the files.
All the files, yes.
At the moment, every time. If we do now apply those new rules we're talking about, will it still do that? Will it still run across all the files all the time?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it works both ways.
But only the files which are relevant for that check. I mean, I think that's where the difficulty is. It will run on all files, but the Ruby check will still only run across the files that we deem as Ruby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, when you run it on your local machine, it only checks the changes that you've made. But yeah, on Travis, it will run through every file. Yeah, like a double check almost.
Okay, so I think it's fine for me. I see no problem on changing the system.
Yeah.
Right. Good.
Definitely. I mean, you can see it's definitely checking across, all the files and stuff. So
Yeah,
these
I
haven't
mean,
been touch changed.
while we're here, there is something I don't quite understand about salt lint. If you go down a little bit,
Yep.
in the list here of files for salt
Yep.
lint, it creates a temp file, and I'm not entirely sure why. It checks temp files.
What I understand it's doing is it's running salt to render each of the state files. I haven't looked at it in detail. I've
You
done a
know
few.
what? I don't think it does.
You don't think it does? I think it does. Let's have a quick look.
Because I mean, I looked into this.
I
They
didn't.
actually removed the bit that does that.
Oh my God.
So salt lint actually does a lot less than one would think.
So they removed that recently?
I'm just going on some, in the last few months. I think the dependency on salt, they considered it to be too
Too heavy or something? Or
too heavy. Yeah, exactly.
where's the text?
And I saw there was an issue about it.
Where's the requirements gone? They had a requirements.txt in there, didn't they? Okay, let's go there. That'll give us the file. What file are we looking for here? So they've removed
Yes,
salt.
I found the issue. It seems that it does not depend on salt now.
It says requirement salt.
Okay, let me.
Yeah, but perhaps that is old as well.
Perhaps that's old. Okay, let's have a look at main. Yeah,
It's
gone.
Pierre 147.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, salt lint does a lot less than you would imagine. It really just checks those basic rules around, the space after the brace and things like this.
Okay, I didn't see this. It's relatively recent. By using 6 hours, so they're not trying to render the.
So it doesn't do a kind of render, as you said, of the files. It only kind of does a pass over with the rules. I mean, I don't know exactly how it does it, but
yeah.
So that's just something for us to bear in mind.
If it's still, I mean, doing a half decent job with those rules, because the rules are still.
I'm sure it does. That also that wasn't. It's not really.
But you're asking about the temp files specifically.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to bring that up as a big problem or anything, but it is interesting to know. But yeah, I'm just curious. There is some part of it which it creates temp files for some reason. I can't quite work out, or I haven't looked into it enough to work out why.
I suppose just sending through an issue and linking to, what I've done in the past when I've dealt with them is just link to Travis, show them what I'm talking about, and they've normally been quite responsive. So yeah, just pointing out that line, for example, and saying, what's happening here. I've never seen them to be a problem. These temp files, I've not really had any trouble with them, so I've just ignored them for the time being because I've not seen a problem with them. But
yeah, no, I mean, I'm just seeing as we're, curiosity really, and
we could always we could just exclude the temp directory, couldn't we?
They're not. I did look at the code a little. They are created by salt lint, but I'm not entirely sure why.
What else did you...
I just looked.
I'm not saying that it's checking files that are in the temp directory or that shouldn't be checked or whatever. I mean, I'm just curious because I think if you did a git ls on our SLS file, I think the numbers are different. I think so. Seeing as we're getting into like the nitty gritty of making sure pre-commit is checking everything it should, I think it'd probably be worth working out why it's doing this temp file thing.
Yeah,
I just looked what we do. We use SaltLint too, and I don't have this temp file.
you don't have the temp files, okay?
Yeah, we use git ls files. Oh, it's the same as in the formulas. We took it from here. So it's the
Right.
same GitLS files, pipe, xarg, saltlint. And we
Okay.
don't have this temp file. I
Then,
don't know where it
yeah,
comes from.
it'd be interesting to find out where it's coming from.
Yes.
It's interesting because we've got it on this side. This is
Yeah, yeah, I'd
you can see
noticed
here
that
we're
as well.
using,
So,
even with the ls files and stuff, for whatever reason it's still picking up those it's still picking up the temp file somehow, even though we're using get ls files. So it's an interesting one. Like I said, maybe the simplest thing would just be simply to exclude the temp directory from.
yeah, they're not coming. They're not files that are being found in the temp directory. I did
Oh,
look
right.
into it a bit.
Yeah.
They are being created by SaltLint, but I'm just not sure for what reason.
Okay. Well, again, we could always just put an issue through to them and figure out what's going on. But at the moment, what it looks like is at least both sides, as in the pre-commit side and these linters, are doing pretty much the same
The
thing.
same thing, yeah.
So that's the good thing. Did you notice that message I gave about the docs TOFS pattern file that wasn't being picked up?
Yeah,
So
I
I just,
did notice.
yeah,
I do remember you
yeah, I don't know
saying
what that was
that now.
about, but it was just
Well,
something.
yeah, that's something
I'm not sure.
else to look into. Yeah.
Yeah, to look into. But otherwise, generally, we're happy with this, and I think give it a little while. I don't know how long. Maybe by next meeting or something. If we don't see any issues, I suppose we can just get rid of this top job. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or,
I'm happy with that.
yeah.
Or
Yes.
maybe a month's time or something.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as we're all comfortable, we'll just do that. We'll remove that. Okay, so that's the pre-commit stuff that was taking place. Looking at another thing that's changed, I hadn't done a bundle update on to update the gem file lock for quite a while, but while I was doing it, I was also looking at a few other things. What was the other thing? So this included moving away from Cirrus as well, because we were using Cirrus CI for a few of our formulas, but I just couldn't get it working with the newest gems and stuff. So I was like, I'll just go back to Travis for now. We're not really having any trouble with Travis, so let's just stay there. We can always go back to Cirrus if it works. But part of what I changed was this section over here. And you may have noticed me mentioning this about Gentoo, getting that working.
Yeah.
There was a change made to the kitchen Docker repo, but they don't release gems very often. So this is the workaround to pull in the latest gem for kitchen Docker. And I also just updated these version numbers because they haven't been updated for ages. So this has been pushed across all the formulas. And of course, the change to the gem file lock across all of them. I did do the testing in Zulip first. I made sure I ran it across all the formulas to make sure there was nothing that stopped working and everything looks good. But
Can I just ask a question here?
Yeah.
Just again, out of curiosity. So when you do this, it's not like the same gemfile.lock for every formula, is it? Do you regenerate it? Do you?
I generate
And,
it
and then
okay, so what I do, I generate it based upon the gem file. So most formulas have the same gem file, so that's okay. They can share the same gem file lock. But some formulas, because we're using TOFS here in the SSF, some formulas, obviously like Vault formula, I think is one example, it has its own gem file. And so the gem file lock will be specific for the Vault formula. So we have that extra requirement in there, and that will come through here to, you see, it will come through to the gem file lock, which will be different. So I've grouped together the gem files, the ones that match, and those ones are updated together in the SSF, and then those are then pushed out to all the formulas. Does that address the question, or have I missed something?
Yeah, no, it does. I'm more
So another one is
curious. There must be then a step where you commit like a new gemfile.lock. Is that right?
I just use a little script. It's
Yeah, so
it's
scripted in some way, is it?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's scripted at my end. Yeah. So what I'll do
Right.
is I just pull in. I just go to each repo that's got its own. So like go to OpenSSH formula, and I run bundle update, and I capture that and put it into the SSF formula as
Okay.
the gem file lock. Yeah, it's fairly simple. It's just a simple script, and that's the thing I then test in Zulip first. just to make sure it's still working before applying it across the formulas. But yeah, with the TOFs, we're able to just keep things specific according to each formula's needs. So that's what's happening with the gem file. So I just wanted to explain if there are any glitches do take place of any type, you know, let me know, because the gem file and gem file lock has been updated across all formulas. It's looking good so far, but any problems, you know, just mention. And like I said, Cirrus is now disappeared for the time being until we can maybe repurpose it for something else. We're just all in Travis at the moment, and GitHub Actions for the Windows testing. That's our 2 places at the moment. So that's gem file lock. This one, I didn't need to mention anything. Oh yeah, there was this going on as well. So there's a few other little changes being made. This is again, David did this, where actually, do you want to explain what was taking place with this upstream? Would you like to just?
So I think the best explanation is, so well, you, Imran, had set up this commit lint thing, I mean, a long time ago.
Yeah.
To check each commit message that it follows the pattern that we expect, yeah, for semantic release purposes.
Yeah.
And then I had incorporated this commit lint check into pre-commit, so that it checks your commit before you're even able to commit it on your local machine, which makes sense to me. So it tells you straight away. But this check is based on a configuration.
Yeah,
and we're following almost like a default configuration from the upstream project. And basically, for fairly arbitrary reasons, they changed the configuration. Specifically around the length of that headline or the header, the first line of the commit.
Do you remember where it is here? It's in here somewhere. I can't remember where it is, but it's here somewhere. But they've changed the rule set themselves, and so these numbers have changed from what this one here was now. The header max.
They've moved all of them up to 100. Yeah.
So that's 100, and that one is
100.
Oh, 100 as well. So
yeah, all of them are 100.
Right. So upstream is now saying 100 for all of those. Now, yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. So it just means that we'd already had a bit of drift between the different settings. Like I had commit lint in pre-commit pinned to an older version. The GitHub action had moved on to the new settings, I think, and also it's done in Travis as well. So that was also just on a random version of the configuration. So really, this is just about being specific about the rules that we're following.
Yep. So just to be clear now, the top line of the message, we're trying to stick to the standard Git maximum length, which is 72 in all the documentation that you get out there. The reason why it looked like, when we looked into this, the reason why they increased it to 100 is because they have a lot of automatically generated commit messages, and some of them end up longer than 72. It just started becoming a problem for them. But we don't seem to have that problem because we don't have that many we don't have any automatically generated commit messages. So there's no reason for us to have to use 100 when we can still stick to the regular convention of 72 characters. And for the other two, because there are things like URLs and other things you want to paste in sometimes, which can be longer than 100 characters, we just took a number of 120 after looking at just some arbitrary ideas about what could be sort of the maximum lengths. And I think 120 is the one we've settled on at the moment for the rest of the body of the commit message. So that's what's been pushed out now to all the formulas. So hopefully that will, and that works directly in pre-commit as well. So it will.
It does. So if you've set up pre-commit on your own machine and on the repository that you're working in, then yeah, it will follow these rules, and you'll get immediate feedback on if your
Yeah.
message is right or not.
So this has now been pushed out, and I think that's a very important addition. So thanks for that, because that's going to keep, like you said, in 3 different places it's being used. But with that in place now, that will keep us, on the same page across any lints that are being run. So that's
Yeah.
another
So
change.
we all know where we are. Yeah.
We all know we are. Yeah. Another recent change has been we've got these Gen 2 pre-salted images out there now, and the fact we could use it. Eric, you was asking me whether we intend to put this out there across all the formulas or not. Do you think it's a good idea to do that or not to?
I don't know what's the status. I don't know enough about Gen 2. I think most formulas don't support it.
Yeah, neither do I. I knew very little about it, and we tried to mess around with it about 6 months ago to get it in, and we got nowhere. Myself and Javier, and then someone just came along to Kitchen. What was it? Which I can't remember which repo it was. I think it was Kitchen Salt, and they improved it to get it working with the Bootstrap. Sorry, it was Salt Bootstrap. There was a PR recently, and so I was on that thread talking to that to the author of that PR, and then they jumped over to the Salt Image Builder. And where are we? Where's the Salt Image Builder? Over here somewhere.
I think as an optional platform, it's a good idea.
Yeah, if it did appear, even if it's in the list and commented out, is that really an issue? If it's just commented out and it's not getting in anyone's way, just from a perspective of pushing this out there, it's a bit easier for me if I don't have to sit there going, okay, yeah, this one yes and this one no. If we just had it out there, even if it's commented out, is that a problem?
No.
Yeah, so we can do that. Is that fine, David? Just so we can get this.
Yeah, if it's commented out, then fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we still maintain the formula file which lists supported platforms?
I think it's already in there. Let's see.
Because the
yeah, let's have a look.
I always, when I did the semantic release, I removed Gen 2.
Okay, so it's there, yeah. That's fine, because if it's not supported, even if it's there in Travis, but it's not supported, people will still understand, okay, it's not been added to the formula file, so we're not expecting it to work here. Yeah, I think this formula file, you see what's happened with this, we're not maintaining it properly across the formulas. It's been, no one's really paying the attention it needs to do it properly. And the problem with that is because it doesn't work, because none of this, because we didn't get SPM running in the end, there's been no reason to keep this accurate. Because if SPM was running, this would then matter. It would actually mean something. So it's a bit of a tricky one. It would be good to keep it up to date, but I don't think it really matters much at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some thoughts around that. I mean, we could easily put a check in pre-commit to at least give a warning that the files don't match, that the platforms don't match between this and Kitchen or Travis. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, no, I've thought about managing this file fully before as well, but obviously there's one problem here with the version number, which is updated automatically. So I have had thoughts, but like I said, I think since the SPM thing hasn't started, I'm just not sure how much it's worth the effort at the moment. I mean, if SPM got started, then it'd be worth the effort. It'd be like, okay, now we've got a reason to do this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
If it's not used by any tool, I'm not sure it's a right format. It's not YAML. I don't think so.
No, it's just.
It's not exactly YAML, is it?
No.
So I'm not sure what to do with that.
In fact, one thing I liked the idea was to actually, I think David mentioned this as well, was to have an OS finger here. Or was that you, Daniel? I think.
I did touch on that. Yeah, I said that we could kind of programmatically decide which Kitchen platforms to run on based on the context of contents of the formula file or something along those lines.
And then it would mean something, and then it becomes
exactly
again. Yeah. That's definitely interesting. It's just then you'd have to work out the suites as well, is because not every platform runs on every suite, and so there'd be more things to think about. But that could be an idea. Did Daniel just join? Am I
He
right?
did,
Yes.
yeah.
Excellent.
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. You're okay. Good, because I've got something for you in a minute. That's good. Good to hear that you're here. All right. So we have discussed Gen 2, I think, done that one there and that one, finalized the RSC check, and we've added Gen 2 to both the template formula and to the SART formula. That's some of the stuff that's been going on recently. Good timing, because I wanted to hopefully finalize this PR. I'll merge it if we can. How far are we from merging this now? What's remaining for this map ginger PR?
Well, actually, it's. I think it's ready for me. I'm using it in two formulas, an ADE formula and PAMMUN formula at work.
Yeah,
So we are using it.
and it's going
Okay,
well.
well, I do have to jump in,
Yeah, please.
and I think Daniel knows what I'm gonna say. That basically the delimiter between
This part over
keys,
here,
that DNS :domain. Well, I've just learned, or I mean, I suppose you can guess that you can't use a colon in a file name in Windows.
Yeah. And I didn't test that today. I can test it right now, actually.
Have we have
So
Windows.
with
We have
the
Windows testing on this
basis
formula.
of where
Sure.
you create a directory,
Is master on Windows officially supported? I think I read something on Slack today about that. I think it's not officially supported, or is it?
that's true, but I mean,
As
I use
enterprise.
masterless Windows. I use it very well. I have use for masterless, which would apply here. But also, I think you mentioned this, that the minion will cache the files down to the minion machine, and so it will still need to create that directory on the minion, I believe.
You know, we need to get this on one of the formulas with Windows testing.
Yeah, I mean, what I would suggest maybe is, well, yeah, there's no problem with. Oh no, actually, this formula does support Windows, doesn't it? I mean, you could easily apply this updated map.ginger to a formula which we wouldn't expect to run on Windows. I'd have no problem with that. But I suppose it does need a bit of work before pushing it out generally, I would say.
So what would be, see, I haven't looked into this. I didn't get a chance to look at this. Where is this problem coming from?
Well, DNS :domain.
Okay.
So if I understand correctly, where you're creating these directories
Yeah,
to match up with grains and things like that.
right.
Yes.
And then you need to go down the hierarchy of keys and values.
Where is the colon being put? Into the actual directory name?
That's my understanding of it, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that before. So is there a place here, an example where there's actually a colon being set? Because
In the documentation,
in the
it's
documentation.
Yeah, all I've
yeah,
done
it's
really
not in
is
the default. It's not in the
follow
default
the-
map.ginger sources,
Okay, so it'll be here.
but
Yeah.
it's in the documentation.
Oh gosh.
I'm using it, for example, to distribute values per DNS domain. And
I mean, all we're talking about here is changing the colon to something else, I think. Because when you do a lookup in Salt, you can choose a delimiter. Yeah. We don't have to use a colon.
Oh yes, when you request for pillars and grains, there is a way to specify the delimiter before the arrow bars, but it's not implemented in Map Jinja actually.
Okay. I mean, yeah. Do people get where I'm coming from, though? I mean,
I get where
I
you're
think
coming
it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. I'm just trying to think of how you'd get around this. Okay, so we have a sticky point here until we work out. I mean, don't we have Windows testing on the OpenSSH formula already? What or is that the OpenVPN formula?
It's OpenVPN, yeah.
Okay, and we never got around to the OpenSSH. Because I think it would be really helpful to have that as well wherever we're testing this, just so we can confirm these types of things, or not confirm. We can then have that in place and then build a tests around it which show failing tests and then fix the problem. OS family, what am I looking for? There's no Windows in there at the moment. So was there Windows, was this working on Windows in the first place, this formula? I can't recall.
Well, I've never used it.
No, it
Not
wouldn't have
on
been.
Windows.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been in the first place.
Yes, and we don't test the specific DNS domain grain.
Yeah, but then what we could do is have that as a test somewhere in the in the test structure to make sure we can check that on all platforms. Of course, on Linux it's fine, but we just want to make sure on. Okay, so we've got a little sticky point here. Just trying to work out maybe a formula that already has Windows testing on it. Should we try to do a map.ginger there? A change there?
Yeah, why not?
So that's OpenVPN, for example. What's the other formula? There was two formulas I recall.
Have you added it to salt formula?
Oh no, you added it to salt formula. So it's in the
Did
salt.
I?
Yeah, I think you did that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did actually.
Yeah, you did it to the salt formula.
I've got several other formulas, but they're not in the organization at the moment.
Yeah, and the salt formula you did, I'm sure. Yep, there you are. So we have, but salt formula is pretty heavy in the sense it's not the quickest testing in the world. But the OpenVPN formula is quite, I think that'd be a good target. I feel sorry for Daniel because I keep saying to him every few months, hey, let's try it on this formula. Once we prove it here, we'll get it out there. And then we get to this point where we have another issue that comes up. Although we're close now, I feel like. I don't think it's too far away now.
While we're on the subject, I mean, this is the first time I've really looked at the changes.
Right.
Daniel, how there's a global map.ginger configuration.
Yes.
And then one in the formula. I don't quite get, how do they interact? Does one overwrite the other, or they merged or something?
Yes, no, there is no merging. The global one is overridden by the per formula one.
Right. Okay.
So what I'm understanding is you'll have your general ones that for most formulas, and then if you need to adjust it for a certain formula, you do that within the formula itself.
Yes, exactly. Like for OpenSSH, because we can't use only TPL root pillar.
Yeah.
We need to define more than just TPL root.
So you have to override it there in the formula at the formula level.
Exactly.
Okay. How do you feel about the idea of trying to apply this to the OpenVPN formula? Because we have Windows testing there. You'd be okay with that?
Yeah.
Maybe I could start you off with the verification, the map.ginger verification. So we've got that in place first, so we can confirm, or is it already here? Wait, this is OpenSSH. I'm looking at the wrong formula. It would help if I look at the right one. Yeah. So if I put that in first, maybe, because I had a little something about that. I was looking into the automation of, providing the map data files, and I just put together a really horrible little script which runs through locally. And did you say you did something similar as well? This is my horrible script. Go on.
Okay, so actually I tested manually on a Windows machine.
Yeah.
And there is no errors. No.
I mean, it'd be interesting to look in the cache, Salt's cache of files to see what it's doing there.
Do you want to share your screen instead so we can see what's going on there?
I'm not sure I can share my screen because I'm not using the application.
Okay. Okay. While Daniel's just doing that, I was trying to work out how to get those map data files
Can I
out there.
make a comment on the map data?
Yeah, go on.
I came up with a situation because I've been writing a new formula for myself. What about the situation where there's a secret value, a value that you don't want committed to your repo?
I would have it. See, I wouldn't have that in the test section though, would I? So what you'd have is your test pillar. You wouldn't put any secrets in there that you're using your test pillar for the actual generation of the map data.
Oh, right. Okay.
You're not using your actual pillar.
No, but what if the test requires the secret to run?
But how about, can't you do that within the test pillar itself with a dummy value?
No, but if you use a dummy value, it won't be able to be successful, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? What's my situation? Basically, I'm installing something. It requires a product key.
Yeah.
So obviously, I don't want to put that into my repository. But also the test to check that for the test to succeed, the product needs to be installed properly, which requires the product key.
The way I'd probably go around this off the top of my head is I would adjust the mapdata.ginger file, and I would pull it out of here so it doesn't go into the actual. So
So you'd
just put a little some sort of regex, some sort of replace.
Why don't we do that in a more general case, in a more general sense? Give some use a parameter or something like that, a configuration value, to remove these keys from the.
How would we find them? Like, what would we? See, from where I'm coming from is when I'm thinking about the formulas and pushing this out there. Since we're all using, since all the formulas are using a test pillar with dummy data at the end of the day, it's never going to be a problem for public-facing formulas. And what's private, what's going to be on your own end, then adjusting it in any way you see fit to prevent that being leaked out is something that can be considered. But I don't know what I'll do at this end here from a public-facing angle to provide that works across all formulas. Like, what would we put there? Even I couldn't. Off the top of my head, I can't figure out what I'd put there, except it has to be specific to that formula's pillar.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll have a think about it.
Yeah, I think if just playing around with it locally and seeing what works, because I've not faced that situation yet, I can't really.
Yeah, no, I mean,
But at the public,
yeah, you're right. This is a private. Well, I mean, it won't necessarily always be private formula, but yeah, I get what you're saying, and
it's not going to
I
affect.
didn't.
Yeah, it's not going to affect salt stack formulas in any way because our test pillars are all visible anyway. So it's nothing there that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
Yeah,
yeah, I see what you're saying. I'll think about it more.
Yeah. Okay. Daniel, did you figure it out? What's happening?
Yes, actually, on the menu, it's nearly working. I could see that it's loading parameters from the salt dot colon / etc. etc.
Yeah.
The colon is replaced by underscore.
Okay.
So the key is replaced by underscore, and so it can't find the parameters.
And on Linux, is it doing the same thing, or is it using a
No.
colon
On Linux, it's working fine.
with a colon?
I'm using it on Linux, but I never tried on Windows systems. I will give a working
Daniel,
one.
could you put that link in Slack? In Slack, if you don't mind.
Oh yes. Here.
Thank you.
So what's that the link to?
No, it's not. I updated one because first there was no DNS domain grain on my Minion, so it was not working properly. And then the second one has a DNS domain.
Okay.
But you will see that the salt URL has a DNS underscore domain. I think it's a bug because it should look up in salt with the column.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Could not find file.
Yeah.
DNS underscore.
But should replace the name on the file system. Because it's working fine on Linux. I can test that on Linux.
All right, over here. Okay, so while Daniel's trying that out, let me introduce you to my horrible little script that I tried to look at ways to get this working in Travis. See, the idea is if we could get artifacts from each job, so each job running actually produces its own dump, and then it pushes it somewhere so that we can grab it and maybe commit it at this stage here as part of the release stage or anything like that. But looking into the Travis documentation, they're saying that there's no guarantee. I don't know if I'll be able to find it right now, but there's no guarantee that actually, let's have a look. Travis artifacts, because this isn't my normal account either, so it's not the easiest. No, it's not this page. There's another page around here somewhere, and it explains that there's no guarantee between jobs that artifacts will be saved. Like you can't do it on Travis's platform itself, and they're saying you have to push it through to something.
We would have to send them somewhere else.
Yeah, it says S3 is the main recommendation. You'd have to use an S3 bucket and chuck anything in there, and then you can share them between the jobs and stuff. So doing it on Travis is a bit tough. Doing it locally is a lot easier. That's not the easiest thing to follow, but the idea is you're using the same dumper and you converge. Actually, don't need to create. That was something I was testing. And you just simply pull out, you get the container, the Docker container name, and you just copy the file. You copy the file from where it is and you put it into the right location. So if I was to run this and show you what it actually looks like, Meaning this could be a potential solution. It's not the best thing in the world. What am I looking for? If I go down here and if I go to my ranger for 1 second, and I go to, what am I looking for? Time zone. At the moment, I've already done it, but if I take it out for a minute, so this is the ones I produced. The naming would have to be fixed because at the moment it's pulling in the full name of the instance, and that can be adjusted, not with not too much difficulty. But if I was to delete this for a minute, so we get rid of that, and then we run bin generate map data. I think I don't have it on the right. I don't have it on the right. Yeah, okay, that's gone. So yeah, I have it on the right one there. So the idea is you run the script and it just works through each one of them and quickly dumps the data and moves on. So that's one done. So if we go over here, where are we? There it is. It's coming in. So it's going through each one, and it will just keep putting the YAML files as it finds them, as it generates them, and pushes it into. So at least locally, we can have it done automatically rather than manually copy pasting stuff. Any better ideas than that? A better way to deal with it?
Well,
other than
no, other than, like you said,
getting S3 or something up and running.
Yeah, something like that. Some external storage. I mean, maybe we could paste it to a paste site.
Paste it through. Yeah, no. Actually, you can use it. They do allow you to use a script. Yeah. No, you can do stuff like that. I mean, you could, if you really wanted to, you could use a script because that's one of the output options. Is, you know, you can the artifacts can be just sent through to a script. And where is it? Here's one of the options. So if you wanted to, you could write something and get it pushed out somewhere and pull it back in from somewhere else. But it's just such a hassle. Maybe over time we could work our way to that, just to make it a bit easier. But the initial collecting of the map data probably only has to happen once anyway. So the amount of effort it might take to do that, I just don't know if it's worth it again. Maybe just running this locally once or twice. I mean, it doesn't take very long to generate all the YAML files, the starting YAML files using this script. So anyway, there's something there that we can maybe share as time goes on. Any more, Daniel, on this?
Yes, but I put a past link for the GNU Linux system.
Do you know what number it is? Because I have that open at the moment. 11.
It's in the chat, in the Zoom chat.
Do you just have the number? Can you just tell me?
It's the last digit is 4.
Oh,
the
no,
same digit.
Change from 2 to 4.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. And
here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's working. You see, the salt URL is. You have. Yeah.
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 So
I mean, I'm not trying to say that it wouldn't work on Linux. I'm just saying if we're going to roll this out.
Yeah.
In a wider,
I think we could. I will open maybe a bug request or a feature request. I don't know, on Windows system to get the salt URL correct, to find the file, and to mangle the path name locally in the cache only.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so
in the meantime, I will add in the documentation a workaround, just making a link on the file system to get the DNS_domain pointing to the DNS: domain. Which is working, actually.
You mean you can create a directory with colon on Windows?
No, I'm just on the server. I'm doing just a link to make the DNS_domain resolve on Windows
Okay,
system.
on Linux.
Yes, on the Linux server,
Okay.
I just make a link in the sold file server.
So that will then point to DNS_domain, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So that you have a standard, you could use an underscore.
Yeah.
Right. That would be another option. Okay, something to think about there to work that one out. So we're still 1 or 2 steps away from this being merged, but at least we're on the right. So just to give you the general idea that I see in my mind is, if we are all happy with this new map.ginger, I would like to get it out there quite quickly, but the first step would be to generate the map datas and get this verification in place so that when we put the new map.ginger in, we know that the refactoring is being done successfully with reverse compatibility. So put these verifications in place first, and then the new map.ginger.
Yeah.
Yeah, to as many formulas as possible.
I just want to make one more comment on this.
Yeah, please.
Something that came to me. I'm just thinking, and I noticed, because this was discussed a little in the IRC channel, wasn't it, yesterday?
All right, you saw my chat with them, yeah?
I did. I think I think we should name this type of configuration, give it a name.
Yeah.
It's map.ginger version 5. My duck.
Yeah, what I mean is, like, we've got grains, we've got pillar, and this is something different. I think it deserves a name.
Okay, so we've got TOFs, which people don't understand when I mention it to them. In fact, many of us don't understand. I mean, I'm familiar with it now, playing with it, but I know a few of us aren't familiar with TOFs. But here's our map.ginger evaluation. So what do you want to call them? You want to give these ones names as well, or just the new one? Oh, I can't get rid of that now.
What I mean is, this parameters folder is a type of configuration.
Yeah.
We could call it. Well, I like something like, because this is for configuring formulas mainly. We can call them elements, or what was my other one? Molecules.
No, molecules is taken by someone, wasn't it? Ansible related.
Yeah, Ansible test tool, I think.
No, you can't have molecule. That's not going to work. But one second. Okay, I've got something a bit more radical. I don't see why this can't be used for many formulas other than SaltStack formulas. The idea is, if we do this right, the way it works is it's a method for really taking advantage of the file server instead of pillars. And why is that not useful to everybody? What's that got to do with SaltStack formulas only?
Well, I was just making the point that that's where it's coming from. That's where we're using it.
Oh,
I'm not saying that it.
All right, put our name on it. You mean, so like it's us? We did it.
Well, no, not necessarily like that, but something that when we talk about this type of configuration, everybody knows what we're talking about.
Right. I think it's going to be some time first, honestly. So you mean like here, pillar stack? How about ginger stack or map stack or something?
I like the map stack, actually.
Map stack.
Map stack. Well, maybe,
because it's a stack of YAML or YAML stack.
Yeah, everyone uses stack, that's for sure, because you know Nicholas with his stacker as well. So he's got stacker, you got pillar stack, you got map stack, you got all these things, all these ideas. Yeah, well, that's great. But I think the sooner we prove it, the easier it becomes to name it and say, right, here you go. This is map stack or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. I just want to get it out there. That's what I want to see. And then, you know, once it's there, we can name it as much, you know, whatever. That's That's a good idea. So what did you think, actually? David would have seen some of what I said yesterday, where I was saying about formulas should either be, actually someone else said it first, and I agreed. I said either formulas should be, you know, pushed and given full support, or they should be disbanded. You know, don't this half business of, you know, are formulas really, you know, officially recommended, or are people sort of saying they're not very good and only, what's the word, only, you know, use them for reference material? Where do we want to take this to? What do we want to get to? It's too late now. We've got very little time, but actually we've got no time. We've run out of time. But any sort of takes on that? Should we really be trying to get, you know, formulas to be used by people, or is it just for our own uses? What is this?
Well, I mean, people are using them. I think that I don't really get this kind of negative thing about them. I mean, if people don't want to use them, fine, don't use them. But I really don't get this kind of
aggression towards
them. This like almost an animosity.
Yeah, there is a lot.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
I think people use it if they know. Most formulas do their job quite well.
Well, I agree.
I know some people is always saying that they are not working, but I'm not sure it's most people.
I think, you know, to be fair to one thing, I think our documentation is so poor, and that's that's none of us. That's just the nature of formulas at the moment. I don't think people understand how to make use of them. I mean, I was speaking to someone earlier on in IRC about the PHP formula. A PHP was one of the formulas, and they were like, I just don't know what to do, how to get it working. And I think that's where one of the biggest disconnects takes place for people, is they don't know how to actually make use of the formula and the power that's already there. So if we do ever figure out some decent documentation, which is why, again, this is why I like this idea of this Map Ginger, because once you have one fixed Map Ginger and all of the formulas are using the same structure, you know, you see some formulas aren't using YAML files, you know, they're using Map Ginger and that's it. And so what happens, that becomes confusing for people to work out, where do I put my configuration? How do I work with this? If we can have it in a sort of a standard structured way, and one of the biggest arguments has always been, oh, we don't like the fact that formulas are using pillars all the time. Well, if you take pillars out of the equation, where people can put their configuration anywhere they like, including SDB or to wherever else, then they can't have that complaint anymore. They can't say, oh, formulas are stuck on pillars. They're not anymore. We're going to take them off pillars and give them to you in every form. But I think documentation would be a big area, because a lot of us, I mean, we put a lot of time into formulas. We understand how to use them. We understand how to read the code and figure out what to do with a formula. But I think most end users probably look at it and are like, I mean, the template formula is scary some way. When I look at it, you know, with a plain eye, and I think about it, I think looking at that from a starting point would be, there's just too much, you know, there's too much going on. What is all of that? That's, wow, that's confusing. I don't know what to do with all that. There's crazy. Yeah. I would like to hide that if I could. If I could figure a way of doing it, I think it'd be nice to get rid of that complexity a bit, which is what I think Niels was saying as well. He was saying having too many files there confuses people who are looking at the formulas. So let's get these structures out there. That's my take, is let's keep structuring these formulas. Let's bring that consistency across them. And hopefully then we can get to the point of documenting them in a useful way, where we can actually really, you know, sell them for what the good that they can do.
Yeah, sure, I agree.
I agree with most of what you said.
Most? He doesn't agree with some parts.
Because documentation is needed. Most formulas only have the README, which is quite sparse. Is sparse a good word? I don't know.
Yeah.
And only the pillar.example, which most don't have comments.
Yeah.
But the only part I don't completely agree is that new Salt users don't care about alternatives to pillars. So the problem is not really if we offer more alternative. It's good for heavy users of Salt, but not for new users, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the problem is not for a newcomer. It's just you don't know how to use this formula or formulas.
Yeah. I think the I've seen an article on there's a blog post somewhere on the SaltStack site. I can't remember where it is, but it's talking about not using pillars. So they are going to start really making that point soon, where they're going to start saying to people, don't use pillars.
I should jump in here and say,
but it was not that much content in the article, but it talked about it. Yes, it talked about it.
They're discussing it. The points are being mentioned.
Yes.
Go on, sorry.
I'll just say, earlier in the year, I did the SaltStack training.
Yeah.
And if there is one key takeaway I got from the training, it's don't use pillars or only use them where necessary. So this isn't just coming from, it is coming from the company, but it's only for in the paid training so far. That's the impression I got.
Yeah.
And also I should say that formulas actually have a chapter in the training manual.
Okay, and in what voice? Active or passive or?
Oh well, this is how you would use a formula. You'd go to SaltStack formulas, find the one you want, and then you'd use GitFS or whatever. I can't remember. It was like a run through of how to use a formula.
Yeah.
And it was based on a particular formula. I can't remember off the top of my head. Apache maybe or something.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, that there is a disconnect between the introductory documentation of Salt with the messaging that comes from the training, but also messaging in the community as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully we can address that, like I said, as we keep adding this structure and really bringing some control to the way people can use formulas, documenting it, then because the testing is fantastic. And, trust me, I mean, this is all new to me when I was first coming in. I remember I made a change to a Postgres formula once and I changed something. I looked at the kitchen. I was like, oh, I can't look at that. I don't know what's going on. And you guys introduced me to a lot of this stuff. And I appreciate that because now I've been able to run with that and bring a lot more across all the formulas, which is good. But if we can now add the last layer, which is the documentation, I think we really could, make a big difference to how these are used and perceived.
I put the link about this article on the chat, on the Zoom chat.
Zoom chat, I can't get to it too easily.
You couldn't put it into Slack, could you as well?
Yeah, I can. Let me reshare my this one. It's great that in training they said avoid pillar, but what's the alternative? The official alternative? I think that they don't have.
Well,
we are coming with one.
The alternative that they give is map.ginger, but that is it's not. There's a difference between using map.ginger kind of privately, where you really kind of customize it exactly the way you want, and with the formulas or our formulas where they have to be general. And that is the key piece which is missing. How do you make a formula generalized? And obviously that's what you've been working on, Daniel.
Yeah, well, it's about using STB here, for example. That's one of the main takeaways here.
Yeah. Which in my case is not possible.
Oh,
okay. Is better than SDB, for example.
But the file server is possible.
Sorry?
The file server, having YAML files on the file server like the new MapGinger is doing, that's possible though.
Yeah, it's possible. Direct connection Minion to a database is not really.
No, but that's the beauty of the MapGinger we're putting together is you can choose. You don't have to use any specific method. Anything that you fancy works for you. And that's why I'm so interested in seeing it out there, because I think it's very, very powerful. Okay, guys, I think we've taken enough of, or I've taken enough of your time by pushing different conversations here. Good to talk to you all. And
Hold on a second, Imran. I just
yeah, go on.
if people have got 2 minutes, I just wanted to show something. If you, can you
Yeah.
go to my my GitHub?
Yeah. Okay. How do I? Is it like that?
GitHub. Yeah, with a J at the end.
Okay. Yep.
Click on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Repositories. I don't know if it's got active something. Yeah, go down to the active bit.
The active. Now you lost me.
Wow.
Is it specific? Active?
Yeah, the activity, recent activity bit.
Recent activity. Where's? I've gone past the page. Okay, down here. Yeah.
Yeah, see the Windows template GitHub Windows formula. Go
Yeah,
have
this
a
one
look
here.
at that.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you will notice something different about it.
Notice something different. It just looks like the template formula.
Yeah. Okay. Go to the action section then.
Okay.
I'm teasing something here.
Yeah.
Down,
I still
down.
haven't cottoned on yet. But go on, keep going. I'm not getting it. Are you guys getting it? Maybe I'm looking too
Okay.
deeply.
Okay. Basically, yeah. Like, click on run. Yeah, click on that top one. I think. Yeah.
This one
The
or this
top.
one?
Yeah. No,
Top
the
one.
top. Merge pull request.
Yeah.
So click on release.
Okay. Release.
Down there. So I guess what I'm going here is basically this is all running in GitHub Actions.
Right. Got you. No, I was clocking on there slowly. So instead of using Travis, let's move to GitHub Actions completely.
Oh, well, I'm not saying we should or the group should or anything. I'm just saying I have.
Excellent.
I've done the template formula running in GitHub Actions.
Got you now. Finally. Well, you had to spell it out for me.
Sorry, I was being a bit cryptic there.
How's it working out though?
Well, fine. I mean, basically, I think the main benefit of this is you can have private formulas.
Right.
Like actual private repositories. So if you do use this template on this,
Yeah.
the whole repo can be private and still run GitHub, the testing and stuff and changelog generation. So I already have one private formula, that one I was talking about with the product key.
Yeah. Got you. It looks very interesting. One thing I find about this interface, which I don't like at the moment, I can't find my way around it very easily in the sense of how many tests are you running here? Are you just running on one? Like how many instances are running?
Yeah, one. I mean, I still haven't, because this is Windows, it's only just running on that one Windows machine.
Yeah,
so
even then,
if you look kind of on the left-hand side, I guess you could kind of see that as the pipeline, one following each other.
Yeah, what I find is because they've got this thing where it doesn't go down. I'm trying to move my screen down so I can see more of it at once, and I can't actually see it. That's a bit frustrating.
It's not
easy
perfect, but
yeah, they need to fix that.
To interrupt, I must leave now.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Okay, thanks a lot. We'll catch up to you soon. Take care.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would really like to change this interface. If they could fix that, that'd make it a lot easier to use this. Because I find it really hard to work with this tiny little half of the screen to see what's going on.
Yeah,
no, interesting.
I would agree with you on that. But so yeah, this is like a stripped down template just for Windows.
Right, got you.
And also the fact that it runs all in GitHub. So
GitHub Actions.
I mean, I have a use for this. I'm not sure. Because you even said it a bit earlier on, the template formula has, maybe you weren't referring quite to this element, but the template formula is almost like overloaded.
Yeah, Javier was saying that in the past as well. He was saying that in the past they've thought about having 3 different formulas, a small, a medium, and a large.
I can understand that, yeah.
we'll have to consider these things as time goes on. But again, with standardization, it'll give us that position where we can look at it and think, right, this is what we can now strip out of it, you know, in a clear fashion, without, because right now everything's just so different. All the different formulas and everything's so different from everything else that it's quite hard to work out what's useful across all formulas or not. And I think once we get to that point where we've got that sort of, all the formulas are doing something in a certain way, it'll be much easier to see what needs to be done. But yeah, GitHub Actions, I mean, how do they run faster as well? Do they run like concurrently at the same time? A lot quicker.
I thought, well, yeah, I haven't had a problem with the speed. I think it's very fast. Yeah, I mean, if you look at that action, the commit lint and pre-commit runs in like 30 seconds or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even the Windows, yeah, pre-commit, I mean, it'll be 31 seconds.
Yeah, there. Yeah.
And the Windows job only takes like 2 or 3 minutes.
Actually,
5 minutes.
Yeah, no, what I've been really impressed with is GitLab, because we've obviously got pipelines with 60 jobs and stuff in there. And I'm quite, I mean, compared to what I've been seeing in Travis, that's not the right one. This one over here, is the speed here is phenomenal. It's really, really good, because it's all running at the same time. They all 50 jobs start off at the same time, and they all finish, you know, within the slowest one is the only one that holds you up. All the otherwise, the rest of them, you know, you could be done in 7 minutes. Before we added Gentoo, we was done in 7 or 8 minutes. That one takes a lot longer to build, almost half an hour. But I'd be interested in seeing us get the template formula over to GitLab as well. See how that would fare out over that side.
Yeah, the I think the blocker on that is running commit lint in it, because.
Oh yeah, I've got my own little method that I've got here in this formula.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's not the best. Where is it? It's holding up. I'm trying to work out where I put it. Where is my commit lint? I hate it when it grabs. Oh God, I'm not going to get past that. There you go. There you go. Commit lint. Yeah, this is my little hack to get it done.
Oh right, yeah. So you're supplying the Git references.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's worked in this repo fine. It didn't work in another one I was playing with, so I'm not sure what I've done. I didn't do it any differently. I've done it the same, so I'm not 100% convinced it works. But I mean, it's been working fine over here, and I'm glad. And it goes back and finds all the right commits and checks them all. But yeah, you do have to hack it in rather than have a package available for you. They should make one, really.
Yeah, I've thought about that, adding it to the the commit lint repo upstream.
Yeah, they'll probably get around to it soon enough. I mean, GitLab can't be ignored, so hopefully they'll get it.
Well, the same for Actions as well, GitHub Actions, because obviously you're using that kind of almost third-party action.
Yeah, the one I got for GitHub Actions, and I don't know how well it adheres to the config. I think it does. I think that one's okay. It adheres to our configuration and stuff. Whereas the other one I tried before had its own set of rules, and it was just basically not matching up with what we were doing. So, all right, okay then. So, I think I need to go and do something right now. So
yeah, that's fine. So sorry for.
No, not at all. It's interesting to see which ways we're developing. The different directions we're going in. Excellent. All right then. So we'll catch up in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay. Cheers.
Right, take care. Bye bye.
Okay.
See
bye.
You.
Right, see ya.
Bye.